Solar Builder's 2021 C&I Ground-Mount Project of the Year is the 20 kilowatt system at the Buckhorn Children and Family Services Center in Buckhorn, Kentucky. This project hit my inbox initially pitched as solar in the heart of coal country, which is a pretty rad pitch considering all that implies. Here to tell us about it is Eunice Scally, Executive Director at Everybody Solar, Josh Bills, Commercial Energy Specialist at Mountain Association, and Seth Long, Executive Director of Homes. Solar in the heart of coal country, was the hook of this project, but there's much more to that statement than just replacing fossil fuels with renewable energy, right? There's a job and skills training piece to this. There's the economic impact of energy independence for small businesses and local communities. And so I want to make sure we can highlight all of that. So Eunice, I guess I want to talk to you and your role at Everybody Solar. You're, from what I understand, a nonprofit dedicated to bringing solar to other nonprofits, which is an awesome mission statement. And I also assume difficult to pull off. How do you get projects going in general? And then in particular, how did this project come together from your end?
It's often driven by the nonprofit itself being interested. And I think in this case, the executive director at the time reached out directly to us. But from there, we usually evaluate, and because we get a lot of inquiries, we can't go with every project. From there, we look at logistical stuff. Can we do it? What would the cost be? What would the savings be to the nonprofit? But also, what is the story? How is this having more of an impact than just this one singular project? We want the project to also be offsetting as much, CO2 as possible and having as green of an impact. But we really kind of fell in love with the idea of this project for the fact that it would be our first project in the heart of coal country. We don't install the systems ourselves. We work with professionals like Seth and Josh to get these actually installed. I'm based out in California, so obviously can't go with my installer crew to every place we might do a project, and that's not my expertise. It's more about how to bring the funding together to help projects happen through grants, and also helping the nonprofit handle logistics.
So Josh, with Mountain Associates, community development financial institution, you help small businesses, nonprofits in a variety of ways.
So not only was this a system that would save Buckhorn Children's Center off their operational costs going forward, but it was also an opportunity to offer some training in the region for these kinds of systems for folks. There's a lot of people in the region that could be doing this kind of work. We worked with Homes, and one of their employees went through our new energy training.
So Seth, I wanted to move to you, Executive Director of Housing Oriented Ministries Established for Service, or HOMES for short. Talk a little bit more about HOMES in general, the mission of it, and how you became involved in the Buckhorn project and some of the job training aspects of it.
The main mission is around affordable housing. We build energy efficient, affordable homes in a region where the housing market is broken. That just doesn't happen that way in our community. We repair houses, we provide rental houses, and then we look for ways, social enterprise opportunities where we can put people to work doing skilled work and earn revenues for, to make a profit to roll back into mission type of thing. So solar was a natural fit. We stumbled upon it in a way, looking for ways to offset our operational costs, because with 3 power rate increases in 5 years, things weren't looking good for us. Our electrical costs were going up exponentially in our properties. So working with Josh at Mountain Association and with spreadsheets, he was convincing me that solar could be an option for us to go. I was skeptical, honestly. I mean, the spreadsheet said one thing, but they do this in California. Do they do it here in Eastern Kentucky? And but I said let's try it. So we actually did our first project on our office. Borrowed the money, didn't have any grant money involved, and put the solar panels on our office, and saw right away a great savings for the organization that was well beyond what we borrowed the dollars for. So in other words, it cash flowed from day one. And I have a young guy on the crew who's aspiring to be a master electrician. He's very bright, eager. And I said, we call him Fuzz. And I said, Fuzz, you're going to school and you're going to learn how to do this. So he is our PV certified installer. He's very talented at this. So when he found out that Buckhorn was a possibility and that it was a ground mounted system, he was eager to do his first ground mounted system. It's been a very good experience for us working in a collaborative way with Everybody Solar, with Mountain Association, with Buckhorn. That's one of the things that I like about it. It's not just one organization going forward and doing it, but many folks were working together for a common goal to get this done, and it's unprecedented, really. I mean, this isn't happening every day in Eastern Kentucky.
And something I noticed is that one of the tasks that you mentioned is changing the narrative a little bit and advocating for policy, and that was one of the hooks of this project as well, because at the time the local utility seemed like they were ready to switch away or from net energy metering. And part of this project, the interest in it, I think, was to prove that this policy should maybe stay and it's useful.
As a result of some legislation that passed a couple years ago that allowed utilities to approach the regulatory body for us in Kentucky, that's the Kentucky Public Service Commission, to propose a different compensation rate instead of 1-for-1. And Kentucky Power, oddly enough, which serves some of the poorest regions of the state, decided to change their rates, their retail rates, and at the same time pursue a change in the compensation for net metering. So our organization applied for and along with other organizations to jointly intervene in that rate case because of this issue. But we were trying to get this install completed before the Public Service Commission ruled on that case, because as soon as that ruling kicked in, then Buckhorn would not be grandfathered. And then by intervening in that rate case, this was a installation, being with a nonprofit that's got a mission, that's doing work with children at risk. And it was another example to bring into that rate case just what distributed solar can mean for those customer generators, being nonprofits with missions, what it can mean for their operational savings. And
keeping the rate at something viable like that, as a part of that, we're talking about the jobs and workforce training, it builds out an industry, right? Because in this area in particular, speaking of it as a coal country or former coal country, you're now looking to transition into something new where coal mining is going away. So by having something that's viable that people want because it makes sense for them to buy it, you now have businesses that are in the area and people trained to sell and install those. So is there a solar market slowly starting to build there? Because you said obviously at first maybe you were even a little skeptical, and then you saw the results. I'm curious where the process is in general for solar in the region.
Yeah, I think the prospects are really great, and they're really great when a trusted business leader like Homes Incorporated can pull out a spreadsheet and say, look, these are actual numbers, these aren't projections, look what it's doing. And I think that in itself has sold quite a few solar systems for us to install. I mean, Fuzz has been busy. People in the mountains here are looking at it economically for the most part, I feel like, and they're really wanting to know how I can stay in business in another 10 years, how I can keep people working. The sky's the limit for us, I think, really, as far as us and others getting into solar installation in Eastern Kentucky.
That's great to hear. And I'm just happy that our readers felt the same way and put its voting support behind this as our C&I Ground-Mount Project of the Year for 2021. I just want to thank all you guys for taking the time to chat with us about it today. And, good luck getting more of this installed out there in Eastern Kentucky and beyond.